Now I'm actually starting to get a little bit concerned about the sunrises here, because the sunrise is now at 5:53, I think. And it's getting earlier and earlier, and in the summer the sunrise is at 4:30 here, so I reckon that watching the sunrise is probably going to be somewhat problematic if I want to get up at 5 every morning. So I got to start getting up earlier if I want to watch the sunrises, because they are pretty fantastic here, I got to say that. So I posted a picture on Instagram yesterday where I sort of like showed my gratitude to Good Life Caloundra, the new job that I had. And I wrote in the caption that they've actually helped me to reach one of the most important goals in my life, to build a life that I don't feel like I need a vacation from. And today I want to talk a little bit about how that goal came to my mind and why I decided that I wanted to start pursuing that goal and why that goal is so important to me. And also how I achieved that goal. So this goal that I've had about like creating a life that I don't feel like I need a vacation from, it's been in my consciousness and it's been a huge driving force in my life for a few years now. And when I was in my mid-20s, when I still lived in Sweden, I sort of like got different jobs that I absolutely hated just to earn money so I could get by. And I've always been this person that I want to pursue something that I feel is my purpose, and I wanted to make my dreams a reality. When I lived in Sweden, I sort of like distracted myself from pursuing my goals, which would mean that I had to face my fears and do things that is, I guess, extraordinary. In the beginning, when I was like 24, 25, 26 even, I sort of like jumped from job to job just to sort of like distract myself from keeping myself to go within and pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. And me distracting myself that way, that actually led to me becoming like super depressed. I was super lost in life. I didn't know at all what I wanted to do. Somewhere deep down I knew that I had to face my fears to make my dreams a reality, to like live a life that I feel like I don't need a vacation from. That just doesn't happen like this. You obviously have to do some extraordinary things. You obviously have to face challenges in your life to be able to reach that sort of stuff. And it wasn't until like I was like 26 that I actually started figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. When I was 25, I had this huge epiphany about myself, and I started reading a lot about psychology because I wanted to start understanding how my mind works and everything, and I wanted to figure out my strengths and I wanted to figure out my weaknesses, because I really needed to know what I was good at and what I wanted to pursue in life. And it was actually then I started to understand that it was something about coaching and helping people that I wanted to do. And then one day when I was, me and my best friend Robert, shout out to you Robert, I love you. We were out walking in Sweden. Training had become a huge part of both our lives then, both me and Robert's lives. We were just out talking and I don't know how we came into the subject, but I just said that like, I should become a personal trainer. And Robert was like, oh my God, you should totally become a personal trainer. That sort of like planted the seed in my mind that I wanted to pursue personal training. And at that time I was working as a bike mechanic in Sweden, and that was actually a job that I liked. I mean, I didn't necessarily like the sort of job itself, but I liked the people that I was working with. And sometimes that's enough. Hanging out with those people really taught me a lot about myself, and it also put me on this journey, because at that job I met a guy that was from Ireland that had been traveling to Australia when he was my age. We started talking. He said that it was the best time of his life, and he really like started planting the seed about going to Australia as well. So at the same time in my life, I actually got like 2 things that I wanted to pursue, because I've always seen myself living somewhere else than Sweden. Like I've always seen myself living in America or whatever. So those 2 things actually planted the 2 seeds in my brain about what career path I was going to choose and where I was going to do it, because before then I didn't know at all what I wanted to do in life. And like I said, I was 26 years old. I feel like a lot of people in their early 20s, they stress so much about figuring out life and having to find a career that they want to pursue and everything. But they're only 20, like 20, 22. You have a bunch of time. If you are in that age, you have a bunch of time, and you got to experience a lot of things to be able to find whatever passion you have in life and whatever purpose you feel like you have. I gotta say too that I've always had this huge driving force of like trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and that has also brought me a lot of suffering in my life. Like every time I went to work, when I did something that I didn't feel like my heart was resonating with, I was in so much suffering and so much pain that I was like anxious every day, I was stressed every day, and that wasn't necessarily because of the job itself, it was just because of me as a person. I would never really let myself feel happy unless my heart and soul was like fulfilled, and I think that's both a good and a bad thing, because it actually puts you on this journey to pursue your purposes and your passions in life, but it also makes you suffer a lot in life, and trust me, I've suffered a lot in life to be able to pursue whatever I'm doing right now. Then again, I'm super grateful for that. It's not like I'm complaining about it, because it's put me on this journey and I love my life right now. But the years leading up to this point has been extremely challenging for me, and it's actually made me suffer a lot. But it's actually something that I'm super grateful for that I've done. I'm super grateful for my past self for actually putting me on this journey. having those two seeds planted in my mind, the first thing I decided to go for was to leave Sweden, because I was not happy where I was. I was so tired of the environment up there, and I was so tired of the darkness and so tired of the bad weather and everything. So most important thing that I wanted to pursue first was actually going to Australia. So after talking to my friend at work, I went home and I started Googling like on how to travel to Australia and stuff like that. And 2 weeks after that, I decided to go for it and actually book the trip and pay for everything. So it was a very fast process, but I knew that this was like the first 100% right thing that I've done in my life, so I just decided to go for it as quickly as possible. So fast forward like 5 months and my dad drove me to the airport in Sweden, and I was like super freaking paranoid. I was super scared in my mind, but I knew in my heart that this was gonna be the first real true thing that I've done for myself for my entire life. I feel like my heart has sort of like been searching for something bigger, and this was the first step in that direction. Even though I was terrified in my mind, I knew that it was going to be the best thing I've ever done, because I've always had this voice inside of me that's been telling me to go for big things, and this was the first time I felt like I really listened to that voice and stopped giving a fuck about what the brain was telling me. So on my entire trip down here, it took me 28 hours to fly here. I was like terrified in my mind, but at the same time I had this sense of peace, and like I was super calm over the whole situation. So even though I was nervous, I was still like with such peace with that emotion. I didn't do any resistance towards the emotions at all. I was just like at super peace, and I felt like it was the first true thing that I've done for myself for my entire life. Alright, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this ever again, because this is like the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life. Look at this. This is actually a high calorie breakfast. It's actually 1064 calories, 114 grams of carbs, 29 grams of fat, and 74 grams of protein. But it's my day off from work today, so I'm gonna enjoy this, because I've never made food look this good ever in my life, and I'm pretty proud of what I was able to do today. Alright, time to try. I don't even know how to start with this, but I'll just dig in, I guess. So I topped them with blueberries, honey, and cinnamon. And yeah, let's try. Wow. And you can actually make this even more awesome if you add peanut butter to it, but that's gonna make the calories slightly too high today. I had that last weekend and it was like 1600 calories for breakfast, so maybe once in a while I'll add some peanut butter. Alright, so I landed in Australia the 30th of November 2019, and I gotta say that I felt like a lost kid at a grocery store. I was by myself on the opposite side of the planet from what I'm used to. Also the fact that I've sold all my stuff in Sweden. I sold everything I owned. I still have a couple of boxes and stuff like that at my dad's place. I didn't know anybody, I was super lost, I didn't know where to go. All I had was like Google Maps on my phone, which I didn't really have any internet on, because obviously I didn't have any reception on my phone because I was in Australia. So using like internet on my phone would be like super fucking expensive, so I couldn't do that either. So yeah, I was lost, I was by myself, and like I said, I felt like a 5-year-old in a grocery store. But even though my brain was like freaking out and my mind was like terrified and nervous and everything like that, my heart knew that I was at home, and my heart was at peace. I knew that everything was gonna be the best thing I've ever done in my life. Yeah, so the first few weeks just flew by because I was so fucking jet lagged. I was jet lagged for 11 days. So it was pretty crazy. After a week I moved into the hostel where I started working as well. So I met a bunch of new friends and I started partying quite a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it was probably alcohol like 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week. And alcohol is not necessarily something that I enjoy a lot anymore, but alcohol is actually extremely good that way, that it actually helps you to be comfortable where you're not. And it was a very good tool to like meet people, and also like doing this sort of like hostel lifestyle and everything. It was, I gotta say that it was the best time of my life. So the first 3 months I've met a bunch of new people that I'm not gonna forget for the rest of my life. And yeah, I'm just so fucking grateful for the first time there, because it was such a good way of like settling in a new country, meeting a bunch of people, having tons of fun, partying, not really caring about tomorrow and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just a very good way to start off my stay here in Australia. After a couple of months, obviously the lockdown and everything happened in the world, and that was when I started to like dive deeper into myself again, and started reading more books and focusing on myself and personal development and spirituality and all that. And that's when the second seed of becoming a personal trainer and that idea started to arise in my consciousness again, because I had time to start reflecting on myself again. And that's when I started Googling, and I found this TAFE course that I went to up here on the Sunshine Coast. Turns out that I got accepted, and yeah, everything just aligned exactly as it was supposed to. So yeah, the second seed in my mind started to grow, and I started to plan my trip from Melbourne up to the Sunshine Coast, where I was going to go to TAFE to become a personal trainer, to get one step closer to my goal of living a life that I don't feel like I need a vacation from. Yeah, so after I arrived on the sunny coast and started settling in and stuff like that, I actually started experiencing a lot of trauma and stress again, and anxiety. Everything that I've sort of been running from Sweden, everything that felt like I had escaped from, that started coming back into my consciousness again. And I felt like I had to deal with a lot of stuff. So this trip that I made to Australia hasn't always been like super pleasant, but it's always been so freaking rewarding, because everything that I had to deal with from like stored trauma and stuff like that, it's made me grow as a person in a way that living in Sweden would never have been able to do. So I'm extremely grateful for everything that I've been through. Even though it's been hardships at times, I've always come out on the other side as a stronger person, and I'm super fucking grateful for that. So one thing that I took with me from started dealing with my trauma is that always express my emotions, because I used to have like walls built around my heart, and I used to have walls built up around me, and it was very hard for me to express like my inner emotions. And yeah, ever since coming to Sunshine Coast, I had to start dealing with that stuff. And at first, of course, it was extremely fucking terrifying, but I'm looking back and it's been like one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life. So to all men out there, and to everybody that's like struggling with talking about their emotions and stuff like that, please just start doing it. Like, I know that it can be extremely scary to do so, but when you actually start to open up and when you actually start to talk about your emotions, trust me, it's gonna be the most like freeing feeling you've ever felt in your life. And yeah, that's how I felt. Like when I opened up my heart again after being closed for such a long time, it felt like 50 kilos was lifted off my chest. And I would never have started doing that if I wouldn't have traveled to Australia. After traveling to Australia and after doing all these things, facing my fears, I changed my external environment to a much better place. But I also challenged myself and started looking deeper into myself, and actually I wanted to become a better version of myself. And that, plus the change of environment, has been like such an amazing thing in my life. And I feel like if everybody would start doing something or going deeper within and actually wanted to face their demons and face their trauma and stuff like that, then I believe that the planet would be a much better place. And I would recommend to everybody that actually not run from the trauma or run from the bad experiences, but actually embrace them and become friends with them. I've actually been outside for a couple of hours now, and I gotta say that I'm starting to get pretty hungry again. Even though I had 1,000 calories for breakfast, I crave something more. And I'm not really sure what to get yet, because I don't want to cook. And I'm not cutting anymore, so I might allow myself for a little cheat meal today, but it's not going to be a cheat meal if I can fit it into my macros. I've only had one meal, so that allows me to have like 1,700 calories, which is actually quite a big meal. So yeah, I'm thinking. I'm not really sure what to pick yet though.
Hello, welcome to GYG. What can I get for you today?
2 spicy chicken burritos, please. And also habanero hot sauce as well, please.
No problem. Anything else today?
No, that's right.
Perfect. Drive through the first window.
Thank you so much. Yep. GYG time.
Burritos?
Yep.
Perfect. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Alrighty. I'm freaking excited as usual. Like I said, it's been a while. I actually added sour cream and guacamole today. Never done that before. And obviously hot sauce, because hot sauce is life. I need it in my life. Pico de gallo, rice, chicken, hot sauce, cheese, black beans, sour cream and guacamole. That's what's in it today. Cheers, or skål as we say in Sweden. Fuck yeah. Oh wow. The guac and sour cream, amazing. Actually makes it so much better. A friend. Hello friend. How are you doing? Honestly, like the guac, the sour cream. Wow. I'm gonna add this every time now. It's like $3 extra though, so it's not super cheap, but that's fine. It's actually really fucking good being able to enjoy stuff like this again. I mean, I've been able to have GYG before after doing my cut and stuff, but now when I'm allowed to eat a little bit more, it's actually a lot easier to fit into my macros, and I'm not really that strict as I used to be. So yeah, I'm not experiencing any suffering right now, so that feels very good. I gotta say though that the suffering that I experienced from dieting is not the same suffering that I used to experience back in Sweden. The suffering back in Sweden I used to experience was not very fun. I used to have panic attacks. I used to lay in bed and be extremely stressed and anxious about life in general. And I never experienced that anymore, ever. Because I've aligned my external and internal environments in such a way that I feel like I'm getting sort of like immune to anxiety, actually, because I've learned how to observe my thoughts and emotions rather than being identified with it. I haven't been anxious in a very, very long time, and I feel very good about that. Time to dig in and finish this. So after starting at TAFE, the personal training chapter began in my life, and I've never felt so at peace with anything in my life. I feel like this was the first step career-wise that I felt like this is something that I can do for a long time. Like I said at the beginning, I've always like distracted myself with like jobs that didn't really have a meaning to me. If you have a passion, if you have something, go study it, go pursue that. Even though it might be scary, even though it might be afraid to pursue those things, because you have a mind telling you to stay where you are and be comfortable and all that stuff, and maybe that you have a good salary and stuff like that. But trust me, like a good salary at a job that you don't really like is nothing compared to doing something that you actually love doing. So then after starting my course at TAFE, I met a lot of new friends, and I started doing something that I absolutely love doing in this life, and that is to both coach people and to train as well. Yeah, the last year has been incredible for me. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and everything is just aligned for me in the most perfect way possible. I'm thinking back at the time when I was standing in the airport in Melbourne, and I was gonna go through the security and everything, and I was like super nervous that I was gonna bring something into the country or whatever. I mean, I obviously wasn't, but like I've seen the show on television, Australian Border Control or whatever it is, and I don't know why, but I was like super nervous and everything. And then after coming to Melbourne, I was super lost, and I always had this feeling in my heart that everything was gonna be just fine and everything was gonna sort itself out in the most perfect way possible. As soon as you have a feeling in your heart, I think you should go for that, because the reward is going to come. Just after I finished TAFE in June this year, I got in contact with Adam down at Good Life Calandra. We started talking, and yeah, it turns out that he wanted me to start working there, and now I work there as a personal trainer. And this is how I created a life that I don't feel like I need a vacation from. But looking back at the journey that I made, like, you can only connect the dots backwards. I think it was Steve Jobs who said that. You can only connect the dots backwards, you can never connect the dots forward. And that is extremely true. The only thing that is going to work as an assurance to have a good vision is your heart. If you feel like something is good in your heart, if you feel like something is like really resonating with you, personally for me it's worked out every time. I'm extremely fucking happy with how my life has turned out. And I'm extremely excited for the future as well, even though I want to live in the now. Still practicing that though, that's why I meditate. Another full-on day today. It's been a pretty hectic day today, I gotta say. And 2 delicious meals, the pancakes and the jiwaji. 10 out of 10, both of them. I mean the pancakes, 11 out of 10, for sure. It was like the best meal I've ever done in my life. Also, how I managed to stack them together like that. Yeah, I really hope that you like the story that I told you today. It's actually a story that's like really close to my heart, and it's something that I'm super proud of that I've been able to do. Communicating and telling stories and stuff like that is something that I'm actually also very passionate about. So the fact that you want to listen and the fact that you made it all this far in this video, I'm super freaking grateful for that, so thank you for that. Anyway, I really hope that you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Please follow me on Instagram as well. I will link it down in the description below. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and I will definitely see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Peace.